Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Come to you live from our comfy couch in the outskirts of the United States. It's the Gaming Salute Reviews for December 9th, 2023, which host Pacemaker 2448 and Ramp It Up Salon.
Hello.
We're watching more Saber.
And it honestly was not bad this time.
It is trudging out of the pit it dug itself.
Which is fine. I have no problems with that.
Unfortunately, I know where all this goes.
I mean, I'm by no means is it to a point where I'm like, yes, this is a good show. Is it at a point where I'm like, okay, I might be able to put this in the same category as like Ghost and Geo, where it's a case of, yes, I could finish it? Maybe. It's almost gotten to that point. I'm waiting on it to misstep and go right back to where it was.
Oh, it probably will.
Because when I'm bored of a show, that is a bigger insult than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And up till now, I was getting just to that point. Also, I love how they don't know how to write Ren's character.
Yeah.
He's either a hot-headed, spoiled little brat, or he's just calm and like, I wonder what the rest of them would do.
I wonder what Kento would do.
I don't even feel like it's just Kento. I feel like he's willing to follow whoever he feels like is important enough at the time. I feel like they literally threw Kento's name in there just to be like, oh yeah, don't forget about him. Who clearly, totally couldn't be the one that might have showed up at the end of the batch or anything.
Kento is the new Caliber? The fuck you say? No, it can't be him. Nope, not at all. 100%. There's no way the Sword of Logos let him pop out of the sword and walk out the door with the sword while everyone was not paying attention.
I saw that and I'm like, really, show? Really? Just saying.
At least Ren has more acknowledged that he still exists than Sophia does. Remember her?
Oh, she still exists?
Yeah, she's stuck in a closet somewhere in the southern base.
I figured they hadn't killed her by now.
No.
Or wait, no, sorry, this is a kid's show. Unalived her.
Yeah.
Can't use the K word.
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't worry. We'll do that to somebody else, I think, in this next batch or so. It's like, well, I guess you're dead. Bye. I think it might be this next batch.
Probably.
It's because of how I think, it was how this last episode ended, because there was a certain character who was not in their usual spot anymore at the end of the episode. I know. We're really gonna miss him, won't we? But yeah, I guess just as a quick aside, the Game Awards were certainly a thing. I watched in the background while I was playing Project Cross Zone and failed on a map twice. We'll talk about it more next week. I figured I'd mention it, but shall we get into the episodes that are 21 through 24?
I guess we shall.
All right, episode 21, Shine the Best Full Color. So Yuri straight up just interrupts the recap, which I don't know what to do with Tassel, because I was kind of okay with him just being omnipotent narrator man. Because I'm like, okay, that's fine. Other like Toku shows have done that. That's cool.
Well, and it also fits with the storybook theme of the show.
Right. But then he starts being an actual character in the show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Wait, then who are you talking to? What? Are all the scenes we see you canon? That you're talking to us and giving us a recap of events? Those are canon now? Question mark? Why? Also, what the fuck is your deal, Tassel? Because no one's explained what the fuck your deal is. But Yuri interrupts because he wants to be human again, so he needs the book about his sword, aka his book. It's like his personal book, I guess. I don't know how else to explain that.
I don't get it either, because, you know, if it was his book to become human again, then why does he recreate the book in the form of a comic book? Shouldn't it have already been established?
All I know is he gets the book about Psycho, he puts it in his driver, and he activates it, and then that like transforms and moves into the buckle that the sword is normally in when he transforms, and then it turns into Ex-Swordsman, which we'll get to see later. But before then, we get the tiniest bit of backstory for Daishinji, where his granddad tells him, hey, by the way, we made all those swords because it's our job, and you should follow the person who's gonna like bring Rekka to its best point, I guess. So that's the thing. And then we get backstory about the Wonderworld and stuff, and apparently 5 people found it, but then war broke out a bunch of people, and then Yuri broke it up because he was wielding the Sword of Light and the Sword of Darkness back in the day. I guess he forgot to mention that part to Toma. It doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't me either. He forgets to mention a lot of things that would be convenient to help move the plot forward. Yeah. I mean, to actually fill the audience in.
Yeah. We also find out that Rekka was the first sword created by anyone else, by regular people, which makes me go, why did Renchiro why was Renchiro worried about Toma wielding Rekka for being a normal person? If he's a regular person.
Uh-huh.
The more I think about it, the more that your point of this show got a soft reboot more makes more sense, because it's like they have just dropped certain things. And I don't know if it's just because the original writer is not writing that much of the show, so they get ignored, or what.
It's almost kind of like how they wound up doing Ghost and not knowing what to do, so just killing him randomly. In all seriousness, it is that same kind of mindset where it's just like, what do we do? Forget this existed and let's keep moving.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if the show did have an early rewrite kind of deal, that it wasn't probably Toei because of toys.
I know original concept wise, like this is pre-production. Saber was a completely different show, but this was pre-production. This didn't even make it to production, like filming and all that. So this would be like long before just anything, and more. Okay, this is essentially pre-COVID was what Saber was supposed to be. Yeah. It was supposed to be a travel show where Toma was supposed to go out and meet these different swordsmen and learn from them. he still had the memory loss and the things with Luna and all that, but he was supposed to go meet these swordsmen.
It feels like the other swordsmen all got introduced super quick.
Yeah.
Whereas now, since the whole splitting the group up kind of deal, it feels like we're actually getting more in depth about the other characters now.
Yeah.
So that's the other reason why I'm kind of like, this almost feels like it had a soft reboot kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because it feels like this time we're learning about our characters.
Yeah, I could almost see an introduction of Daisenji and Ryoma and all them. Like now, with them just walking in being like, I am this swordsman, I am here to take your stuff. And then Toma beats them. Or at least proves himself to them. And he's like, you're cool. You're not who I thought you were. Because it's the two older people who will be like, we would question the guild more because, like, we have a nose for when shit's a bit fucked and shit's a bit fucked. Like, we're not blind. We've been around too long to not be blind. Whereas Rentaro, the guild's too personal to him for him to like just walk away. And I guess Ren's too young to notice. Too young and blind to see the bigger picture.
Which would make sense with his personality traits kind of deal.
Yeah, for once him being the stupid little kid actually works to the benefit.
And that's weird and kind of annoying that happened. Like, I feel like I'm more annoyed with the way the show handled everything up to this point, more so than anything.
Yeah.
Because even if we abandon the whole travel idea, if we literally had from everyone against Toma to them slowly starting to realize Toma was right, if that was the start of the show, I almost feel like it would have been far more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because that would have took us from Hero having the world against him to actually becoming the hero the world needs.
Yeah. And actually making a sort of logos that is worthy of the name it has. And also, don't you love how many like grunt sort of logos people we see and we will never see again?
Yeah.
I am so mad that we don't have like a basic grunt suit like we've had in other shows, because this show needs that. Where's our basic grunt rider suit in this show?
Something COVID, something production issue, something budget.
Yeah. I'm just like, damn, like this, if there was a show that needed a grunt rider suit, that you could just have like 3 of them on screen and they all get chopped out by the proper writers, like this show desperately needs it to sell the fact of, hey, it's these guys, it's these 2 bases against each other. But no, we see all these people and we will never see them again.
And, you know, I thought of something just now. We had about 2/3 of a year, as far as Rider goes, where COVID was affecting it.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything from the end of 01 through the current arc that we're in on Saber would have all been affected by it. Heavy affected by it.
Yeah.
All of that is kind of the weak point for both shows.
Yeah, I think it would only take till like later in Saber, and then at least pre-production for Revice for them to go, shit, we have to make the show with COVID in mind instead of making the show without COVID in mind and then having to change plans. I think it took that long for them to go, oh shit. We can't make Rider like we do anymore. We got to make it different.
Which luckily by the time Revice came around, they were able to do a little better.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, I almost have to wonder if this was that moment where the writing had to take a back seat because they were more worried about everything else.
It wouldn't surprise me, because I can only imagine all the hoops you have to jump through for filming with COVID, both in and out of suit. Because that's the thing you don't think about, is all the stunt crew and all them having to film with COVID in mind as well.
Yeah, but I almost think in suit it probably was easier. In all seriousness. It would definitely be the out of suit stuff that was the pain.
Yeah.
But I would have to think that all the in suit stuff probably wouldn't have been that big of an issue.
Back in the show then, the Backstreet Boys have a bunch of books because a bunch of people have disappeared and they've turned them all into Meg-Eats, and they are all somewhere, I guess.
They're all in the books.
I guess. We see one of these two twins from that are eating competition people get turned into a fancy new monster, and then also Toma's sad about all these people disappearing and he can't do anything about it because he's one guy.
He can't do anything about it because he didn't do anything to try to stop it.
Yeah. But before we deal with the new monster, Daishinji shows up and is like, Toma, fight me. Prove yourself. So the two of them fight. Toma gets a fancy new power of Sword Glows. And that'll be important later. I love that he gets this new power up of Sword Glows, which means he can do a thing that Psycho is able to do. And only like one other person is going to get taught how to do this. It feels like something I would think you would want to pass that around to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But nope. But yeah, Toma loses. Daishinji's like, you've got potential, but you're not on my level. And then later he talks to Ryo and he's like, I'm gonna go join Toma. I like he's doing cool things. I want to help him. And Ryo's like, cool, do you. Like, again, my two favorite characters in the show. Probably the best two characters in all 4 of these episodes.
Yeah.
Yuri finally gets his book. Toma fights the new monster, gets eaten by it, and so Yuri has to bust out his new book, which is ex-swordsman, which is a big multicolored, all sorts of like pointy bits and stuff. If I have one complaint about the suit, it seems it's a little too bulky for the suit actor to really do a whole lot in.
I could see that. But I also am sitting there thinking, okay, it's using shadow as its base.
Mm-hmm.
Which didn't really have flashy moves to begin with.
No, it was just there to hold the sword.
Yeah. So that kind of makes me wonder if maybe it's a carryover from that.
Yeah, I could see that. I just notice how it moves. It feels like the suit actor is limited in how he can move because there's a lot of mass on everything in the suit.
It might not necessarily be that as much as it might be the fact that the shadow suit wasn't meant to actually persist this long, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't made like most of the other suits were.
Mm-hmm. But it's still cool.
Because even the shadow suit looks like it feels bulky kind of deal compared to any of the other suits.
Mm. But it's cool. It also has the fun thing of it can break down into just putting all the bits on the arm or putting all the bits on the leg, do a big fancy attack, which I also appreciate that they still keep the fact that his head is on the arm or leg, and that's the part that's talking. Like, just because it all moved does not mean that his head is at the helmet still. No, the head is at wherever it needs to be.
Which is also funny because technically the head would still be the sword. Because as I said, it's still using shadow.
Yeah. Although,
which makes the comment about him feeling pain seem kind of dumb.
Yeah. Although I wish there was a bit of a faster transformation for it, because he has to do the base transformation to get the sword in the standard position, and then he has to put X Swordsman in the buckle, and then do the transformation so that the book can be in the new position for the sword for this transformation. I'm like, I wish you could just shortcut the X Swordsman and not have to like deal with like doing the Psycho transformation and then X Swordsman's transformation.
Well, I mean, audibly they don't get to cut it down.
Yeah.
But visually they do get to cut it down a good little bit.
Yeah, which the police do.
Which is honestly fine. It's one of those I wish audibly it did too, because this feels like it's definitely one of the shows because of one, having a big roster, and two, every transformation has an extremely long saying.
Yeah.
It becomes word jumble whenever they all try to transform at the same time.
Yep.
Which means you've got one of two options. You either spend 15 minutes letting everyone transform, or you just accept defeat and have word jumble.
But yeah, Yuri blows up the monster, saves the girl. Hooray! He does forget to mind wipe her, as we'll find out in the next episode, which is episode 22. Nevertheless, I want to save people.
I've got a theory about that also.
Okay, what is it?
What if he actually did mind wipe her, but it's because it's two people in one?
Oh, she kept her memories.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Because it's clear that this is an odd situation that he can't immediately resolve come the end of the second episode.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes me wonder if maybe he did try and it just didn't work.
Hmm. But for this episode, Rio talks to his kid and be like, I want to help Toma, but if I help Toma, I put you and your mom in danger, and that's not good. Spoilers, he's gonna defect anyway.
Yeah.
Which, I'm gonna be honest, do they really want to tempt fate by going like, Rio defected, let's go after his wife and kid? Are you sure you want to do that?
Well, seeing as how it's pretty understood that Toma's the only one able to walk away from his finisher, even if it was literally limping 2 steps and then passing out.
On his feet, mind you.
It's one of those, yeah, I don't think anyone wants to deal with him.
No. I think if you threaten his wife and kid, he's gonna come cracking open the front door, being like, hey, I wasn't gonna make this personal, but you made it personal. Your ass is mine. You forget, I am the swordsman of Earth. I will sink this fucking building.
Southern base, where was that?
Because it's like, oh yeah, there's a barrier. Yeah, it's still all sitting on ice. Because I'm pretty sure it's not on any sort of land surface that isn't made of ice. Rio will sink that fucker if you mess with him. It's like, you have 10 minutes to evacuate, and then everything. Anyone in here that's left after 10 minutes? Well, that's on you. But yeah, this is when we find out that the other sister of the twin, or the twin sister, is missing, and then we see them get merged as Rio talks his kid some more. Rio and Toma duel. Toma takes his finisher head on and lives, badly injured and unconscious
somehow.
But he also loses King of Arthur at this point, so that's not the last time we'll see King of Arthur, apparently, because I checked the wiki and stuff. We will see King of Arthur one more time, I guess. But that's when we find out about the new monster that has the two of them in it. Daishinji goes to fight it and has to buy time for Yuri to show up.
Who takes forever again.
Who I like to point out, Daishinji and Yuri, along with Mei, are at Toma's bookstore with an unconscious Toma. Daishinji leaves when Mei tells him about the monster and has to buy time for Yuri to show up from the same place he left from.
And has to buy time for quite a while.
What the fuck was Yuri doing?
Being Yuri.
Not healing Toma? Because reminder, that's a power of his.
Being Yuri.
God damn it. But anyway, Rentaro and Ren also show up in the don't fight because they're like, there's people in there. We can't do this. Or at least Ren's okay with it. Rentaro's not. But then Storia shows up and swipes everybody away. And then Yuri shows up and he tries to separate them. But oh no, there's two people in there. He can't do this alone. And then Toma shows up with his power and just smacks them both out of there because Yuri did enough damage so Toma can get the rest and get him the rest of the way. And then he blows up the monster and then Storia fucks off. And then that's the episode. Because now the twins get mind wiped. Hooray. So how do we feel halfway through?
Honestly, kind of good. The ex-swordsman stuff, it really is spot on kind of deal.
Yeah.
That, and then, actual freaking character development.
We have stuff that is happening. Hooray.
It's almost like we have a show.
It's
It's a
like
shame that it took 20 episodes to get to this point.
It took half the runtime of the series to get there. Like, consider that. It takes about half the runtime for us to get to this point.
And it's not that this stuff wasn't there at the beginning. Because it was.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the point I made of just, there's probably a good show in Saber, but its foundation is so bad, it affects everything that's built upon it. Because it's like, yeah, we have good stuff here. Too bad everyone here except Yuri was introduced like 15 some odd episodes ago in not the best way.
Yeah.
Shall we hit our second half?
I guess so.
All right, episode 23, Raging Hand of Ruin. So Toma devises the plan of talk to Master Logos to get some actual answers since, there's a question of if Master Logos is actually giving these orders or if Reika's just making them up and wants power because she's the traitor. Spoilers. Master Logos is the traitor, if you can't tell.
And other spoilers, she totally is not traitor, but kind of is traitor.
Yeah.
Because if anyone was going to guess that she was traitor, then no. It's not going to be that on the nose.
Yeah.
It should be that on the nose for the characters in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But not for the audience.
So they need to get into the southern base, but there's a barrier preventing them from getting into the southern base. And Daishinji's book gate does not let them in because he's been locked out, which is what I pointed out before, that Reika should have done that already.
For the northern base. For
yes.
Toma. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And anyone else?
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
Anyway. So they go talk to Rio, and he's just like, can you get us in the southern base? He's like, no, I cannot get into the southern base, get you into the southern base. I will not let you borrow my book. My book, have a nice day. Leaves book behind him without saying a word so that he can get in.
Now, the dumbest part of this is they meet with him after he just almost killed Toma.
Right, but that's fine. Toma agreed to that fight. He knew what he was getting into. Look, Toma decided to fight the guy with the Buster Sword. He should have known that maybe when the guy's charging up his big finisher, to dodge and not just go, I'm gonna tank it. It's okay. I can handle that.
Although now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, this match consists of two characters actually just deciding that they can tank anything.
Yep. Pretty much.
And both times, the character that thinks that gets knocked right out.
Yep. It's like, I can tank this. Oh no, I can't tank that. Oh god, no. Oops. So Toma and Daishinji are sneaking into the base while everyone else is busy fighting Zurus, because Storius is going to sneak into the southern base through the portal that Rentro and Ren use that doesn't close immediately behind them, and also doesn't prevent anyone from walking into it that isn't, somebody of importance.
Because we have to let this be the thing for this match.
Yep. So Zurus is busy with everybody else. Also, Ren fights Yuri for a little bit because Ren continues to be a little shit, but he is. But at the southern base, Master Locos runs in the Storius, and Storius is like, can I have a forbidden book, please? And Master Locos is like, here's the keys. Go take the one book. You're only allowed the one forbidden book. You can't have any of the others, just the one. You do have to return it, though, when you're done. So Storius has that. Toma ends up running into, yes, that is Master Logos. I'm not playing that game. No, that is Master Logos that led him into Storius. That is also Shinken Gold from Shinkenger, his actor. So we have a returning Toku actor as one of our main villains. But Toma and Storius run into each other. They fight outside a bit. Eventually, Toma gets the forbidden book away from him, but then the book opens and he reads it, and it possesses him, and it turns into Primitive Dragon, and then he becomes Primitive Dragon. And at this point, Legius, why does Legius hate Toma? That is the one part I'm not clear on. Why does he have such a hate boner for him?
Reasons.
I guess. But yeah, he's like, I'm gonna fight Toma with his new power-up, and gets fucking demolished. And so does Storius, who rightly goes, ah shit, he got the forbidden book. We're running, we're leaving. Nope, I'm not fighting that. I know what that book is. No. But Toma eventually passes out. How do you like Primitive Dragon? I take the silences as meh.
Pretty much, yeah.
I kind of like it. I don't like having the picture of the book on the suit of whatever is needed to also transform. That feels unnecessary and kind of takes away from this is the Berserk you will die very painfully form. I also don't get what it really needs, why it does that.
It does take away from it, but at the same time, I kind of wish it was more like when he uses Lion Senki, for instance. It would be nice if it changed it from Primitive Dragon to Primitive Lion or something like that.
Yeah, it actually read the book instead of just, it's still Primitive Dragon. It just has a new sticker on the front of it.
Because then that would kind of make sense.
Yeah.
And would also open it up to, allowing more than one character to have a berserk form, but that's beside the point.
Sharing upgrades amongst riders? Yeah, that's not happening for a few years.
I was going to say that's not happening.
I mean, Geats did it with... Actually, Geats did it with actually most of its power-ups, or most of its forms, actually, that weren't...
Really only did it with one form.
Yeah.
Because side grades are not considered upgrades.
Yeah, and Fever doesn't really count because it's not a form in of itself.
Right.
So it only really did it with Twin Command, and only did it with 3 characters.
Which is only one more character than Dead Heat.
Yeah. But yeah, Toma passes out after the fight, and now everyone's like, oh no, Toma got a bad thing. We have to figure this out. Which takes us to episode 24, On My Father's Back, the future he carried. So the team tries to analyze the book to figure it out. They can't because the machine can't read it. So that, all right, sure. Toma and May try to research it, and I love that May volunteers for this, but yet she can't read the made-up language that all of the sort of Logos books are in. Did no one teach her that?
Apparently not.
And also, when did Toma get to do that? Or is that just a thing with the sword? Like, you take up one of the swords, you can read the language now. Because that's my only thought of why he can read it and she can't.
Or we forgot about that and...
Yeah. But everyone agrees, don't use the book. Too bad that everyone did not include the book itself. Did anyone think of locking up the book to make sure it didn't go teleporting to Toma every time it felt the need to go kill something?
I mean, how would they lock up something that literally vanishes out of existence to appear in front of Toma?
Fair. I would just like some effort put into it instead of just sticking it on the table and hoping it doesn't move. and just being surprised when it just decides, Toma's in trouble, I guess. I'm gonna go save him. And probably murder somebody in the process. Bye! But before the book does that again, Rio challenges Toma again. They fight it out. It kind of ends up being a draw this time, but also they lose all their extra books. So Toma no longer has access to Crimson Dragon because he lost those 2 books, and Rio doesn't have access to his Jack and the Beanstalk form. Well, Beanstalk arm. Because he loses that because Reika takes them with her sword. Also, that's the last time we're seeing those books used ever. So goodbye to those forms. But Rio decides to defect. He tries to talk some sense into Rento and Ren. They're too caught up in their personal stuff to defect for now. Legius, after getting the shit kicked out of him, decides, fuck this city, and tries to blow it up. And everyone shows up to fight him. And as he's fighting, Primitive shows up to Toma and is like, I'm taking control of you. We're fighting. I want to fight. And fights Legolas and beats the shit out of him, and then steals Ritro's books and like uses the Lion Sinky book in that book, so it's a different picture, and he can summon like an evil version of the lion, I guess. But then like May tries to talk some sense into Toma, and then he tries to attack her, only for Yuri and a returning Caliber to block the shot and to knock out Toma. And then Caliber immediately fucks off before anyone can go, who's wielding the sword this time? And that's where the episode ends. So how do we feel after this match?
I feel like this has finally put stakes on the table.
Hooray!
I'm waiting on them to be yanked away.
It is progress, and it is what the show needed desperately.
The question will be, how long will progress last?
I don't know, because I don't remember what the next match is outside of what the next episode is, which is just Sabella gets to show up and kicks the shit out of people. But I guess any other thoughts?
No.
All right, then in 2 weeks, we'll pick this up and continue. But between now and then, tomorrow, we're racing Super Mario World. And hopefully we have guides so we know where all the exits are. That's the race, is how many exits can we get? Next Thursday, I continue Project Cross Zone. Next Friday, why am I forgetting?
Same reason I am.
Is it on the schedule?
I think it is.
KH2 Rando.
Okay.
And then next Saturday will be TGS, where we'll get to talk about the Game Awards and other stuff that isn't the Game Awards, because we don't particularly care about the Game Awards. I get to be slightly mad for 5.5 seconds that Cyberpunk wins Best Ongoing Game, which that is not what that's supposed to be about. And Spider-Man won no awards, so it gets to share that distinction with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 when it got nominated and won nothing. And that is pretty much it. So if you like what you're seeing, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away that affiliate goal at TGS Network on Mastodon.social and at TGS Saloon on Twitter. We'll give you updates live. Exclamation point Discord. Jack is listening. Drop by, say hi. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.